Are you trying to decide whether you should learn CW or Morse code? Do you think that CW is no longer is being used in the world of ham radio since the FCC no longer requires it for licensing? If you're asking yourself these questions, then stick around. I've got some answers and reasons why you should go ahead and learn CW and show you that CW is still being used in the world of ham radio. Hi, I'm Steve, call sign is K4SRF, and I've been a licensed ham operator since 2019 and currently hold an extra class license. Today I'm going to give you a brief history of CW or Morse code and my reasons why I chose to learn it. I might even encourage you to learn CW as well, so let's go ahead and get into this. Morse code is a way of sending messages across long distances and it has a history that goes back around 181 years, that is as of 2021. It was created by Samuel Morse about 1840 and was originally used to communicate over telegraph wires, and it was generated by a device known as a key. CW is the only digital signaling method that can be understood by both people and computers, can be sent using the simplest and least expensive radio equipment, and can travel further than a voice signal and still be understood when conditions do not allow the transmission of voice to be understood easily. So what frequencies can you use CW on? Well, let's just take a look. Okay, we're looking at the ARRL band plan here, and these are all the frequencies that the FCC and the states have allocated for ham radio use. Next to each band you'll see a set of letters here, and the E stands for extra, A is for advanced, and G is for general. N and T is for novice and technician class license. Now, CW and data, RTTY and data, are all allocated and allowed within the areas that are red. Some expand the whole length of the band, some are just parts of the band. Now, in this red area, you can use CW, data, or RTTY, with the exception of, let's say, the 80-meter band between 3.525 and 3.60. That's going to be just CW only. The same with 40 meters, 7.025 to 7.125, those zigzag lines. That's only CW. That's not data or RTTY. But for the most part, anywhere there's red, you can use CW or data or RTTY. With the exception of 60 meters, of course, there's no data, RTTY, or CW allowed on that particular band as well. So, as you can see, no matter what band you are on or what class license you have got areas on each band that's allocated for use of CW. So what happened to Morse code? Well, it's pretty much been replaced by more modern methods of communications, such as digital and satellite communications, but it's still being used by ham radio operators around the world. The CW requirement was eliminated by the FCC for all U.S. issued amateur licenses on February 23rd of 2007. Well, the reason the FCC decided that Morse code was no longer a requirement is it believed that the public interest was not being served requiring Morse code when the trend to amateur communications was moving to voice and digital technologies. The FCC noticed that there was a declining trend in ham radio licensing. This graph, ranging from the years 2000 to 2014, show how the licensing dropped and then steadily rose. Between 2003 and 2004, licensing started its decline and leveling off around 2006. It stagnated for about a year, and then in 2007, when CW requirement was dropped, licensing started to trend upwards and continued to do so, and up to and surpassing the year of 2014. Why was there an upswing in the ham radio licensing after the FCC dropped the CW as a requirement? Well, in my opinion, it just allowed people to get into the hobby easier, and once in, they could learn CW without the stress level of knowing that they needed to know it. Now you may be wondering how hard it is to learn CW, what methods are best to learn the code, or just where you can go to learn the code. If you want to learn code in a real-time environment, Check with your local ham club if you happen to have one in your area and see if they have a face-to-face training session. So go ahead and join that. If not, there are plenty of resources online and downloadable at your disposal. All you have to do is just search for them online. I have personally used apps that were designed for phones, some for iPads, and even online programs these programs can actually track your progress in your quest to learn CW. Now this is the website that I use for some of my code training. It's Learn CW Online. The website is lcwo.net. That's lcwo.net, or just Google Learn CW Online. You'll find a link to it. It's a great site. You register with the site. It doesn't cost you anything, but what it does is as you train, it'll save your training as you go along, and you can access this anywhere. You could do it at home, or if you're on the road or on your phone. Doesn't matter, iPad, whatever. You can access it anywhere and take up where you left off, or continue where your training's at. Like I said, if you're like me, you don't have time just to sit down and study code. I have to do it when I have some time, and there may be days that you just don't feel like doing it. You can't focus, so you don't have to worry about doing it that day. This is a learn as you go experience here, and it will save your lessons as it's done here. As you can see right here, it'll save your lessons, and you can delete them if you find something you didn't really like and you don't want to save it. You want to do it over again, you can go ahead and delete it, but it will track your progress from your first lesson all the way up to the ending lesson. And as you can see, it's got about 40 lessons. And on the left-hand side here, you notice you have different, the Koch method of CW courses. You have different Morse machine, which actually generate the code for particular letters you want to practice on. You also have a section here for speed practice. You can go into groups, plain text translations, word translating, call sign training. I say translations, but I mean training. And you also have some other options down here which are interesting to look at. So this is a very versatile site, and it'll also, like I said, show you a graph of how you're doing here as well. So again, this is Learn CW Online. It's a site that I use, and if you choose to go ahead and learn CW, I think you might find this site to be very useful. Now, if you're still not convinced as to why you should learn CW, or if you're wondering whether it's even still used much anyway, well, just check this out. Well, there you have it. CW, though not the mainstream in communications, is still being used, and is used quite strongly by ham radio operators all over the world. I hope I've given you some information that will help you decide whether you should learn CW. Now, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that like button. Until next time, this is Steve, K4SRF 73, and I hope to hear you on the air.